So what's up, gang? It's me, the Great What If, back in a video, and this is What If Deku was a reincarnation of Levi Part 2. And look, gang, I just want to, a few announcements before the video actually, begins. And yeah, this is my first announcement. I'm sorry I wasn't able to post as much as I really wanted for the last, 5 days or so. I was really, busy. As well with, school work. And, I had, small parties, just small parties with my, family and all. And they had caused so much ruckus that I wasn't able to post jack shit. And yeah, really. And also, because 2 of my videos got copyright claimed, I needed to, to solve that problem, I needed to trim off a few of it. Thankfully, my videos are still up, but I just trimmed off, the intro and the outro. Because the XXS Temptation music and all, and yeah, that caused a huge headache for me, but thankfully, I don't have to take down my videos or whatnot, so yeah. And also, what else? The last, with Deku was a reincarnation of Levi, I mostly put it on to, the background of how Levi died for at least 99% of the video, and just 1% is how, he got into the My Hero universe. The reason I did that is because I didn't want to do Levi dirty. Alright? This is Levi we're talking about. I don't want to just say I need maybe 2 or 3 minutes just talking about him and just, getting on with the My Hero story. No! No, that seems fucking disrespectful as shit. This is Levi. Alright? The 5'3" emo boy that we all love. Well, most of us. Anyways, yeah. So that's why I made a whole part. I should have made that part 0. That would be my fault, and I got huge backlash for that, and I didn't really know why at first. And yeah, I just realized I should have made that part 0. But hey, everyone makes mistakes, alright? And yeah, most of the time I'll just do part 1s. I don't really do part 0s. Don't really get the whole meaning of that, but hey, I'm not hating. Anyways, I probably ranted on far too long, and, enough of me. Let's get right into the video. First, please like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. This supports me a bunch. You guys don't know how much this means to me. And we're so close. We're literally halfway there to 6K. Holy shit. I'm sorry, again, for not posting as much as I really need to. I'll be posting What If Deku was an Archangel Part 2. Probably today, after this, recording and all. So, I have many things to do today. To make up the whole thing. Anyways, I probably ranted on too long. Let's get right into this What If. So, we're gonna, start the story off with Levi, or quote-unquote Deku, being born at the hospital. But this time, Hasashi's gonna be there, alright? He's gonna be there to support Inko no matter what. And Levi is gonna have a father figure. Surprisingly, yes, he's gonna have a father figure. Yeah. And Hasashi's quirk is gonna be a little bit different, alright? He's gonna be mainly used for, matter manipulation. Like, he could change. I'm probably butchering a lot of my words. I'm really sorry. This is pretty late. So, yeah. That's why I'm butchering a lot. Anyways, he could change things into, whatever he wants. He could change a rock into gas, or mainly things into whatever form he desires. And yeah, I don't think I have much else to explain. Also, his hair will be black instead of white. Alright, and Inka will have the same quirk and all. She will have green hair, green eyes, and yeah. And also, Levi will be born with his original body, so he will be, 5'3", emo, kinda, and also, he's gonna have green hair and green eyes. So that's the only difference between him. Anyways, let's get right into it. So as, Levi is born, Inko holds on to little baby, Levi, and just nurturing him with all the love and care that she could ever give to Levi. And Levi, in his mind, he's like, okay, I know that I'm a baby and all, but this is so fucking weird as shit. And oh god. And Hasashi's just very happy. He's already a father. So he's ecstatic. Like, nothing could ever, or any feeling can express how much he's feeling. That's my vocabulary is pretty much shit at this point. But whatever. He is feeling amazing. He's a father. He's very happy, enjoyment just coursing through his veins, and, well, it's pretty much tearing up a little. And Ingo looks down on little baby Levi and says, "So, what will we name him?" Asashi was thinking for a second and says, how about, what's a cool kick-ass name for a kid or a baby? And Inko just looks at him saying, "No kick-ass names, alright? I don't want him, born with a name like, Sakanji or whatever, anything that's not badass, alright? He's gonna be a normal child." And he was kind of, disappointed, but whatever. And he didn't have a clue on what to call him. So he just told, Inko if she has any name that, she could think about right now. She thinks about it for a second and says, "How about Izuku? Izuku Midoriya. I think that sounds right." And Hisashi says, I mean, yeah, why the hell not? And yeah, that's how Levi got his name, Izuku. Now, he's going to be growing up with, well, Bakugo and whatnot. And he will be, let's say, at least a couple years past. So Izuku will be at least 3 years old. And Izuku would hang out with Bakugo, playing around. But, again, it's kind of weird for Izuku, quote-unquote Levi, to play around with such little kids. I mean, he still has his old adult, what's called, perspective in life. And he just wants to, well, move on forward and see what this life could take him. Until he realizes that the surroundings, people around him are very, very different from the one that he went with his reality. I mean, those are like using electricity or changing their bodies and manipulating, or are those who look not even human. He was, well, how do I say this? Very weirded out is a way I would, persuade it. But this is a new life, a new reality, a new world. And he wants to know more about this. He wants to know how these people got these powers. And then he thinks about it and says, probably God gave him these powers. I mean, I could ask him for the knowledge of this world, but that would be just asking too much, and it would be too easy. He wants to work hard in this world. He wants to actually put effort in this world. So, he decided to hit the books and all, and start to read up on how these people got these powers. It just shows in some, books saying that it magically just, appeared, and slowly over time humans got these powers. Regeneration after generation, they seem to get more powerful. And Levi thinks about it and says, "Wait, didn't God give me a power of this, well, similarity? Or is it I don't know how to say it, but is it the same with these people, or do I have my own unique power?" And then he, thinks about how his parents are. He saw his mom, lift things up, only small things though. And he sees his dad just changing things into his perspective, like changing a normal wood plank into a wood wrench. And then he saw, well, let's say, change the dirt outside of his, house into more of a concreted dirt. I don't know how else to explain it. But Levi noticed that his parents are very much different from very different. So he could be very unique in his own special way. Could he have like a combination of their powers? And it is possible. He did, he's still reading all these books on how people have the combination from their parents. And then he thinks about his quirk, his power. Is it going to be a combination of their parents? Probably not, since the god he talked to said that he's going to have his, his own power that's going to be similar to his Ackerman power. So it'll probably be very, very far-fetched, but he could have a far different power from their parents, or from his parents. But he just wanted to know more and more about the world, and it seemed very more complicated than his world. I mean, he grew up not knowing, multiplication or read. He could read only a little bit, but he didn't really much do any multiplication or equations or quadratics or freaking the triangle of despair. He didn't learn all that. No, no, no. He learned how to fight. He learned to talk. He learned how to read and just command. He was a captain in his in his, past life. So maybe he will go on the same road that he went on as back then as a captain. But there's no titans here to slay, not that he's seen, and it's very, very vague. Like, people nowadays just want to be a hero and less talk about being a villain. Like, it's very weird, but sooner or later he'll get used to it. He would hang out with Bakugo and want to see through his perspective of what he will want to be in the future. Bakugo will go on and talk about how he wants to be a great ass hero like All Might. Then something clicks and says, All Might? He didn't ask Bakugo on how he looked like. Bakugo goes on to explain how he got big ass muscles, that big long hair, that blonde long hair, and just went on how he is a symbol of peace and hope, and how he wishes to strive and be strong like him. And Levi thinks about it and says, No way. No fucking way. No. We're, at the same time, we were resurrected. Erwin and Hanji are here, but... I mean, God can play a little bit of tricks. I mean, no, I shouldn't think about that. Even if he is him, I mean, it could be a completely different person, but if it is him, he will have no vague memory of me, or Hanji, or probably his past life. But hey, he's not for sure. So then Bakugo would just explain how great All Might is, and, it's called, Izuku would just, tell him to, alright, quiet down, alright? I know how great he is and all, but it's very, over climating or something, that he's explaining this person in vague and how powerful he really is, but he hasn't really much seen how powerful. So Bakugo would, show him a video of All Might destroying these villains one by one, using his powerful punches and his resilience, and how each sentence ends with justice and hope and equality and all that, and how despair will just get erased by the power of hope. And Levi would just see All Might and just mirrors it with Erwin. And these both are very similar, but again, they're two different persons, and this is a different world, so he doesn't really want to, look into it that much. Anyways, as Levi grows up with Bakugo, a year passes, and Bakugo and, Levi's just sitting in his classroom, just writing down in his notebook about what else that he learned, and how he should keep it in his mindset, keep it all in his notes. It will probably be more important for him in the future to, keep it all in his head, per se. As Bakugo will be showing off his quirk, the small explosions be bursting out, and everyone will just be ooh and ah about this. And Levi, Zuko, he wouldn't really much give a shit. Like, he just cares about his own being and all. And he's not all that gubby like, Kachan. No. he's not like that. He doesn't call him Kachan, he just calls him Bakugo. And Levi, he will just keep it to himself. Sometimes he'll hang out with Bakugo, but again, he has his adult perspective and doesn't really like hanging out with other children. He's kind of like an emo, but not really. Well, not yet. And as recess hits, he goes outside, just sits on a bench and just reads a book. Calming sensation. He could hear the casitas. I don't know how to say it. Casitas. What every anime has. That insect that makes the noise. Whatever. Alright, don't roast me in the comments. Anyways, as he just, sits down, just reads his book in peace, he could hear another kid cry, which alarms him a little. So he closes his book, puts it right next to him on a bench, and just gets up and walks towards where the source of crying is. As he turns a corner and sees a kid just on the ground, his hand bleeding, crying, bursting into tears. And you can see the three kids, just screaming and just laughing at this kid. So Izuku would just walk towards them and put his body between the kid and these people. As he just looks at him and notices one of them and says, Katsuki? What the hell are you doing? And he's just with this grin and says, get out of the way, Deku. We're gonna teach this kid a lesson. And Levi would just look back at the little kid who was just crying, holding on to his hand that's literally bleeding. And Levi just says, What did you do to make them mad? And the kid would just say, I didn't do anything. I just showed them my quirk and they said I'm so weak. I didn't do anything. I'm sorry. And Levi would just look at Bakugo, glaring at him, saying, so you kicked and make this kid bleed because he had a weaker quirk than you? And Bakugo would just smirk and says, the weak should just die, and the strong will live on. And Levi, Deku, or Zugu, would just look at him and just says, and you wanted to be a hero? Heroes protect the weak, not hurt them. I had so much hope for you, but yet, what's wrong with you? And Bakugo would just look at Zugu and glare right back at him, and his two little goons look at him and says, so, you want to get beat up too, huh? That's alright. Let's get him. Let's get this motherfucker. Let's get him. And Bakugo, with a sinister smirk, says, alright, Deku, since you want to be a great hero, or whatever, and you preach about heroism, you know for a fact heroes bleed, right? I guess we'll make you into one. Let's make him bleed, boys. And just go up and gangbang. Freaking punch the fuck out of Levi. Levi isn't with his physical form or anything. He can't just kick or somersault or whatever. He's in his old type of, body. He hasn't gone to this training yet. And he would get easily overpowered. Levi would try to punch and just kick, but his kicks would be very weak. His punches would be, nothing to them, as they all just punch him. But Levi went for a quick jab and just punches Bakugo right in the nose, causing him to bleed. Bakugo would just say, what the hell? And Levi would just slowly get up and says, Katsuki, this is not heroism. How dare you? And he started to bleed a little. And Levi started to get angry and angry. Katsuki just says, that was a lucky shot. Damn Deku. Looks like you haven't learned your lesson, huh? Let's get him, boys. And just started to punch him again. This time causing him more bleed. His cheeks started to, bleed, let's say, red, started to turn more red and red. His skin started to turn more red. And the blood all around, like a couple around his body, scratches and everything, started to evaporate into the air. It became like steam. his body started to turn red, bright red. And as he just looking down as he's getting pummeled, Bakugo can just see the color in Izuku's skin is turned bright red. And as he slowly looks up towards him, his eyes are gone. Like they're blank. Like they're blank. He's blank. These guys are gonna get fucked over. I just know it. And Katsuki, he slowly backs away, saying, what the hell? What is this? And two of his goons, started to back off as well. And Levi, his hands are clenched, bleeding, holding on. Just looks at him and says, alright. I never got this angry before, but I guess she was right. He was right. My Ackerman powers are always driven by rage. But this power is far more better than the Ackerman's. Man, this is amazing. Katsuki, you're gonna learn today. You never mess with a broccoli boy like me. And Katsuki is, backing off, like, this anime, just bad guy anime stance, whatever, like, slowly backing off, saying, oh my god, he's too powerful. What do we do? And two of his goons are just gone right there and then. He doesn't even want to stay. He's just gone, leaving Bakugo alone. As he slowly walks toward, Levi slowly walking towards Bakugo. Bakugo slowly trying to back off, just falls on the ground, trying to crawl away. And Levi just grabs his leg and just drags him back. Bakugo, he throw a few explosions right at his face, but he doesn't even seem unfazed. Bro, this 4-year-old kid is on steroids. He just freaking lifts him up and just hits him on the... He just does a whole flip. Like, if you've seen Meliodas versus Bon, and sees how Meliodas just flopped the fuck out of Bon, that's what he's doing right now. He's just 1, 2, 1, 2. And Bakugo, he's out for the count. He's done. And the little kid who was behind Levi, he just bolted the fuck out of there. He's not gonna stay and find out that his hero just saves him. No, he's gonna run the fuck away. And Levi, he's just breathing in and breathing out, He's really angry, but he's trying to calm himself down. His skin slowly turns back to his normal, pigmentation. And his eyes slowly revert back. By this time, kids would already told the teacher, and the teacher would just run out and just scold at Levi, and just called the nurse to get, Bakugo. Levi got most of the, hate, and just, the teacher was just yelling at him, saying that what he did was, not normal. Like, why did he even do that? And Levi, he tried to, talk himself out. He tried to tell them the truth, but the teachers, their ears fell deaf, and Levi got very much scolded. As Inko and Hasashi, picked up Levi, the teachers tell the parents what he did and what he should not have done this at all, and how their parenting skills are just defective. And Hasashi just looks at her and says, all right, let me talk to my son and see what really happened, because I know you teachers are always tweaking, so let me talk to my son. He puts his hand on Izuku's shoulder, he goes on one knee and says, son, what really happened? And, Levi explained everything, how Bakugo bullied his kid. He went there, tried to save him. He ended up beating Bakugo really much up. He got scars as well. And, he showed some of the, showed them all, but as he shows them, all the scars, or all the scrapes that he had, the blood coming out, it wasn't even there anymore. He was healed fully. Like, there was nothing, there's literally no damage on him. Hasashi, he had to take, he had to believe the teacher at this point, because he has no scars around him, and even if he had to protect the kid, he would, had to get at least a few bruises or something, because this won't explain everything. And, Izuku tried to say, I unlocked my quirk. Inko was actually pretty happy at this point and say, "Wow, you unlocked it?" And Hasashi says, "Well, I mean, your quirk could have done something to your skin that, well, at least maybe healed you up or something. I'm not really much sure at this point." Uh, and, well, the teacher just says, "Well, he's gonna be expelled." No, not expelled. Suspended. And Hasashi looks at her and says, "Suspended? I mean, these kids were just roughhousing." And she just responds saying, "No, you literally send the kid to the hospital. Your kid is a menace. He might even grow up to be a villain." And Inko just slaps back saying, "Oh, shut the fuck up, Teach. Alright? You're teaching my kid. You should be supervising them. What the fuck were you doing, huh? Cutting your nails, drinking your coffee or whatever? Huh? What were you doing? Weren't you supposed to look after these kids? Huh. And you tell that I'm bad at parenting. You're bad at being a teacher overall." And the teacher, she just, doesn't even talk anymore at this point. She just got fucking schooled. Get it? Ironic? Schooled? Teacher? Yeah. Sorry. As, well, all three of them head home. Well, Hasashi talked to, Levi about the whole thing and says, "Well, let's go to the quirk doctor and see what your quirk is, because at least there'll be one good thing about this day." As they head to the quirk doctor, a different quirk doctor, not the canon quirk doctor, alright? It's a different one. As he checks Izuku and his quirk and all, he then knows for a fact that his quirk is very, different. As the quirk doctor just sits down, and so as, Inko and Hasashi sit down with Levi just sitting in the middle, the quirk doctor then explains why Levi's, quirk is very unusual. And Hasashi responds saying, "Well, how's it unusual?" Well, the doctor then explains, "Normally there will be a combination between you and your spouse. You both will make something, do the thing, and you will have a baby with probably 50% chance or maybe 100% chance of having both of your quirks in a one, singular quirk. Per se, like you have matter manipulation and you have kind of like a levitation quirk. You two would be, your quirks would mix and something new will come out of it, like matter levitation, whatever like that. But the thing about your son is that he has like a rage type quirk that actually helps him heal up. Like he has a healing factor whenever he rages. His strength and mobility and speed increases by 3 times. And when we were doing, we took some blood samples, and whenever your your son is at a rage state, the blood that was inside a serum turned into a gas. So no matter like if your child got some of this blood was taken away, and your child's in a rage state, no matter where his blood is, it'll evaporate into a bottle, or it will just burst, since the bottle can't contain that much gas. And at least there's a good thing out of it, since you don't have to worry about your son getting hurt a lot. And yeah, this is actually very unusual. I won't know what will happen to if he breaks his bones or whatever. Will actually heal him up fully or partially. But we won't be testing that type of things in this hospital, alright? And Inko and Hasashi were looking at each other and say, "Yeah, that's okay, but his quirk is very unusual, so did he get that from your family?" And Inko, did your father have like a rage or something like that? And Inko says, "No, actually, he had nothing. Not even my mother had that type." And Hasashi said, "Well, I don't remember anyone in my family having that type of quirk." And Izuku just says, "Well, could I be a hero?" He wants to be a hero, at least. And Quirk Doctor says, "Yeah, you can actually become a great hero with your quirk. You can probably be a support type of hero, or maybe even be on the front lines. And, Levi, well, he was kind of happy because his quirk is, well, given by God himself. But he felt like he, well, didn't really much deserve this type of power. I mean, it's good and all, but if they're going through nature's, process, he should have gone at least two or maybe a combination of their parents' quirk. But hey, he won't get, well, droopy on that subject. He's happy that he has a power they can, well, kind of show off. And yeah, over the years, as Bakugo would try to, well, bully Izuku or try to beat up, and that didn't go out so well. Levi just kicks the shit out of Bakugo and makes him his fucking footstool. He even called him that, footstool. Alright? He hit him so hard sometimes that he goes on his knees or anything. He would just use him as a fucking footstool. Or maybe even a chair. But his little nickname's called Footstool. And yeah, as they're going through, well, middle school, Levi was just in his class sketching on his notebook and everything. Not about heroes or whatever, but his old gear. As he would just think about it, saying, I know my quirk is cool and all, but I can very much use it in any predicament that could actually very much suit my needs. So, I guess I could ask my dad if he could make this. He then does this whole blueprint in his notebook about the whole ODM gear. He thinks about it and dwells on it, but he's not very much sure if he wants it or not. I mean, it was his old gear, his old school type of gear that he always uses. But he did learn that, heroes have these types of support gears and how he could wear it and all. And is very much, well, useful. So he then thinks about it and says, why the hell not? I mean, I've been working out lately, and I guess I could just work on trying to do the ODM gear again. I mean, my body isn't very much used to it, but I love to fly. Maybe at least a couple times. Besides, I already know the whole, well, thing about the whole ODM gear. I know what it's made out of, and I clean it every single day, so I know what parts it goes and what not I need. Yeah, I can ask my dad to make it. As he goes home, normal school day, and he asks his dad if he could talk. His dad sits down across from him and everything, and he brings out his notebook, puts it on the table, and shows him everything. He was very impressed about his intelligence, about thinking this type of, well, gadget or support gear. He then says, yeah, I can make this. Yeah, I can definitely make this, but what is this called? And Levi was, well, confused and says, what do you mean? He then points at the notebook saying, what is, ice burst? Then Levi responds saying, well, it's a type of stone that's used to, put the air inside the tanks that makes a person fly. And, well, he responds saying, well, I never heard of a stone like that. And Levi says, oh, shit. I knew it. Damn it, I knew that they wouldn't have anything from my reality. I mean, I can ask God. But that would just seem too suspicious. I'll be right back. And as he goes outside, his dad was kind of confused, but whatever. He says, alright, okay, I'll guess. He goes outside, he puts his hands together and says, God, please come. I need your help on this one. As time itself freezes, the little boy comes down and says, what is it? I'm very much tired. If you want to talk or something, maybe another time. Levi responds saying, no, this is actually very important. I need the stone called Ice Storm, or Ice Stone, from my world. Oh, okay. You mean that stone? I mean, I can create it if you want. Okay, that would be great, actually. Could you? And he responds saying, yeah, I can make it. But, for a favor. And he responds saying, all right, what's your favor? He responds saying, I'm going to ask whatever I want, all right? In return, I'll give you all the stone you ask. And Levi says, all right, I guess that's fine. And God says, great. And he gives Levi a bunch of stone. This shit is very ass heavy. And says, oh God, why the fuck is these shit heavy? And, well, God says, well, these are called stone for a reason, dumbass. Well, I'm gonna leave. And Levi says, alright, I guess. And time resumes. Levi comes in with a handful of stones, and his dad's like, what the fuck? What are those? I never seen these types. And Levi just, okay, old man, just use these to make the gas or whatever. Could you make it now? And the man said, yeah, how did you? Levi just says, don't question it. And he just started to glare at his dad. He says, okay, I guess I won't question it. And he thinks about it and says, well, I'm not very much good at making things. I am an engineer and all, but this thing looks so complicated. How about it? I'll ask a friend of mine, Mr. Hatsume, and see if he could help me out with this. And he said, Izuku responds saying, alright, I guess. Who is this Mr. Hatsume? And he responds saying, well, it's a friend. You wouldn't much have to worry about that. And, yeah. He calls up his friend and says, well, explains what he has and he needs his help. Mr. Hatsume says, alright, come over. As he will bring, the stones, put it in a car, bring his notebook. Both of them go over there at the house. It wasn't very much far away, but hey, it was very much near. As both of them, got to the house, as they ring the doorbell, and a girl opens up the door saying, hi, my name is Mei Hatsume. Nice to meet you. And Levi just looks at her, and Hanji fades in on the image and fades out. And Levi just says, Hanji? Sorry. I hope you guys enjoyed as much as I do. Please make sure to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Like if you like it. This is like a new channel. Welcome. And see you all later.